Welcome to this week's episode of William & Mary Television's Flat Hat Insider. I'm Mary Kate Weinbrenner.
And I'm Tanner Russo. Well, after a long and contentious campaign season, voters have finally made their choice in Virginia's gubernatorial election. On Tuesday, Democratic candidate Terry McAuliffe narrowly won the highly contested governor's race in Virginia, earning 47.74% of the vote. McAuliffe's main opponents, Republican Attorney General Ken Cuccinelli and Libertarian Robert Sarvis, received 45.25% and 6.52% of the votes, respectively. In Williamsburg City, McAuliffe won 63% of the precinct's 4,362 votes. According to Student Assembly Secretary of Public Affairs and President of the William & Mary Young Democrats Zachary Woodward, voter turnout in the precinct most heavily populated by students was almost twice what it was in 2011, with over 2,200 votes cast. In the race for Virginia's 93rd District House of Delegates seat, Democrat Monty Mason defeated incumbent Mike Watson with 52% of the vote. In the city of Williamsburg, Mason had an exceptionally strong lead, winning 64% of the vote, while Watson pulled in only 35% of Williamsburg voters. The race for Virginia Attorney General, however, was not as decisive. The race between Virginia State Senators Mark Herring, a Democrat, and Mark Obenshain, a Republican, was so close that both parties have called for a recount, which would be handled by the Virginia State Board of Elections. Counts late yesterday showed Obenshain with a slight lead over Herring.
William & Mary plans to introduce a new international security minor to the college curriculum. The new interdisciplinary minor will draw on faculty from various departments of the college and will be housed in the Roy R. Charles Center, which is responsible for administrating all of the college's interdisciplinary programs. According to the Charles Center director and government professor, Joel Schwartz, the minor will resemble the public health minor, the most recent of its kind to be introduced. Like the public health minor, the international security minor would complement students' existing majors. The program is still in early stages of development, and it is not clear when the minor will be introduced. However, requirements for the minor will likely include training in a foreign language, as well as coursework in statistics, econometrics, and geographic information system.
Well, we live right near its banks, but how often do you actually stop to consider the health of the James River? In a recent report, the James River received a C for overall health. With a score of 53%, the river, one of the three main tributaries to the Chesapeake Bay, improved by 2 percentage points since the last assessment in 2011. Lower James River keeper Jamie Brunkhouse speculated that this 2% gain can be attributed to a $1.5 billion investment in cleaner sewage treatment practices along the river. Brunkhouse speculated that the investment helped make the James environment more hospitable to certain native populations. She noted, for example, that approximately 205 breeding pairs of bald eagles, an endangered species, have been sighted along the James, a strong indicator of the river's ability to provide a habitat for natural species. Despite these recent advances, however, the river continues to face major challenges, including excessive sediments leaching into the waters, a nearly 20-year-long problem.
We now bring you some updates from the Student Assembly. During Tuesday's meeting, senators passed the Student Development Act, which increases the ratio of graduate to undergraduate student representatives on the Executive Appropriations Committee. Previously, the committee was composed of 7 members, 1 member from each undergraduate class, 2 graduate school members, and 1 at-large member. The committee has now been expanded to include 11 members, 7 undergraduates, and 4 graduate students, creating a 1-to-2 graduate to undergraduate member ratio. Senators also passed Swim Snacks Act 3 Tuesday. The bill allocates $400 for the Student Assembly to distribute healthy snacks in Swim Library at 9 p.m. for 4 consecutive Sunday nights, starting November 17th. That's all the time we have for this week's edition of the Flat Hat Insider. Be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter for all the latest news. We'll see you back here next week.